All right, welcome to a new edition of Around the Table. I'm Tochukwu Raphael. Now, in today's edition, we're going to talk about interreligious faith, religion, as it concerns Nigeria. You know that there are four main religions in Nigeria. We have Christianity, we have Islam, we have Judaism, and we have traditional religion. Now, you would believe that, or agree with me that around the world, there are conflicts, several disagreements, several quarrels arising from misunderstanding. There is this quotation that he who makes peaceful resolution of conflict impossible is at the same time making violent resolution of violent aggression inevitable. Now, this arises when there is misunderstanding amongst members or advocates of these religions. So, we are here to understand the essence of these religions. Joining me to talk about this, I have two representatives here of two religions. We have Judaism, we have Islam. On my right hand, I have Mr. Josiah representing Judaism. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And then a representative of Islam, I have on my left Omar Wase Ibrahim. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, all right. So this is the matter concerning religion is very delicate, especially in Nigeria,
Yes.
where you have conflicts between Christians and Muslims, sometimes between Christians and traditional advocates. For example, the one currently happening in Anambra State, where traditional religions practitioners are saying that the government of the state is against them because of the ban or the crackdown on native doctors. But then let's focus on the two religions, Judaism and Islam. I want us to start first of all. Well, let me start with you, Mr. Josiah. What is Judaism?
Okay. Thank you for that question. No, Judah, when you ask what is Judaism, yeah, it has a very broad definition. But speaking on a personal perspective, yeah, Judaism is the religion that is an Abrahamic religion. It's a very popular terminology they use for it. So once you say that a person is a Jew, so you know that the person is a believer in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the person is a person that believes in the whole laws of God. You know, they call it the Bible, right? The first and the Old and New Testament, where we will call it the Torah or the Tanakh. So there's also a popular, in Judaism, just like there are different sects, but it's one thing that makes them common, and that particular thing. Whenever you say Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. It simply means, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. So, regardless of the sect of Judaism, once you say it, every Jew identifies with that particular word. So a person that is Jewish is a person that believes that there is only one God. So the believer in one God. So that's monotheistic religion, right? So Judaism. So whenever you see someone is Jewish, yeah, the person is the person that believes that there is only one God, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
But also, in Islam, there is a belief in one God. And Islam, we also say God of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac. So, what distinguishes your religion, Judaism, from those of others? That's what I want you to hit on.
Okay. So what distinguishes Judaism from other religion? Okay. So there are some practices that the Jewish people abide in. Okay. Like the keeping of the Shabbat day. Like, yeah, it's Friday evening. Yeah, Shabbat Eve. Please Shabbat Shalom. That's peace of the Shabbat be unto you. So there's one major difference. The Christians Oxford Dictionary defined when you check for the definition of Sabbath day on Oxford Advanced Dictionary, it tell you Saturday for the Jews and Sunday for the Christians. So you see, that's a little bit different. What differentiates Judaism from Christianity? And each religion has its own day of worship. Yeah. So in Judaism, our worship starts from Friday evening, Friday sunset till Saturday sunset. That whole 24 hours, right? Meanwhile, for the Muslims, I believe I was in the north. I believe on Friday they do go to the mosque, right? They do go to the mosque on Friday. Then the Christians go to church on Sunday. So that's one particular one. Then some Christians believe in Trinity, right? There's three God in one person. Meanwhile, I told you that in Judaism we believe in only one God. So
I'm coming to that. I'm a Christian, and I would not agree with that notion that we worship three gods. We worship one God, but we have three persons. But maybe in our next session we'll talk about that. I'll come back to you. Ibrahim Wase, what is Islam, and how does Islam differ from Judaism?
All right. Thank you for this question. And I think Islam is an Arabic word that means peace or submission to the will of the Creator. So Islam is the general term, and Muslim is the name of the follower. So being a Muslim literally means submitting to one God. The same way you rightly put it, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, God of Moses, God of Jesus, and God of Muhammad. So we believe the religion is literally the same right from time. It is just the scriptures and people that change tract. Yeah, I basically believe in our belief that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they are all from the same roots. The patriarch was Abraham, but before Abraham, we believe Adam, Noah, and other people that came prior to Abraham also believe in one God. So the concept of believing in one God is what is referred to as a Muslim in Islam. So that's why you hear a Muslim person said Abraham was a Muslim, Isaac was a Muslim, Joseph was a Muslim. It doesn't necessarily mean literally. If you ask them at the time, they will say we are Muslims because Muslim is an Arabic word. But the literal meaning of Muslim is submitting to one God. And as he rightly said, the most important of all the commandment of all in the Bible is Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And in Islam, we say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. We believe that there is no God worthy of worship except that one God. I want to explain something which is, I look at it as misconception sometimes. Some people ask whether Allah and God are the same thing or different. Allah is an Arabic term for God, the same way you call God in your own language. You call him Chineke, right? In Hausa, we call him Ubangiji. In Yoruba, they call him Olua, depending on the dialect. So Allah is a term, the name for God in Arabic. And most Christians, for example, let me use respectfully, not because I'm trying to attack the belief, but to make clarity. Most Christian doesn't know that Jesus himself called God Allah, or Elohim during his lifetime. He never called God with the English term God because he spoke Aramaic.
Okay.
So the differences between Judaism and Islam, I think, is the timing. I usually said the difference between these three religions is timing. Judaism was the oldest of the Abrahamic religion that came through Moses, and they believe in the Old Testament. So they did not believe in Christianity, not at all, not in any phase or shape or form. Christianity came second through Jesus Christ. Christians believe in most of the doctrine of the Jew, but Jewish did not believe in Christianity. While Islam came last. Islam is the youngest of the three. In Islam, we believe in all the three. That's why we say we believe in the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Last Testament, which is the Quran. So Islam is the only religion that believe in both and also believe in Islam. So I think that's the major difference.
All right, thank you very much. Now, the next question I want to ask is, since Muslims and the Jews believe, and even Christians, Nigeria believe that we worship one God, why is a religion a cause of most conflicts or most wars we have in the world, or should I say in Nigeria? Okay, first of all, do you believe that religion contributes to most wars or most conflicts in Nigeria? And if yes, why? If no, why?
So I would start with the words of Frederick Engel, a communist, that said the history of the world is the history of class war, whereby the ruling class has been exploiting the backward class, and religion, moral, and laws were invented to serve as ideological basic for safeguarding the interests of the ruling class. So according to this dictum, religion is part of the fraudulent acts created to back or to support the interests of the ruling class. But I don't believe in that ideal. My belief is most of the founders of religion, they have little to no attachment to politics or leadership. So it is over time that political figures adopt the religion and use it as a tool to control. For example, I used to give this example. The golden age of Islam reigned from the 9th century up till the 16th century, when Islamic religion spread like a wildfire from the Arab Peninsula to the eastern part of Asia and northern part of Africa. They spread and get the largest kingdom in the history of the world, largest united kingdom, united by a shared belief system. So during the life of the Prophet, when Prophet Muhammad was alive, it was only within the Arab Peninsula that Islam existed. So after the death of the Prophet, he has his own successors. We have Abu Bakr, who happened to be the first successor. Then Umar, who is being looked at one of the most influential leaders in the history of Islam, who conquered two superpowers of his time. At an instant, the Persian Empire and the Roman Empire, he conquered them at a time. Empires that were not just superpower, they had been in existence for thousands of years, for just a group of people to cost their aim in a space of less than 3 years, is a great thing. And the world has never experienced such a thing before. So it was during his time that Islam spread to northern part of Africa, to the west part of Africa, and farther to the eastern part of Asia. Because the most populous Muslim country in the world is Indonesia, and Indonesia is in eastern part of Asia with more than 400 million Muslims in that country alone. So I think politicians, if there's political agenda playing, people will always use a tool to divide. I said for any ideology need etiology to make it valid. So for you to convince the people, for you to find a justifiable reason for anything, you need to bring theology to justify what you want to achieve. And that's what's bring religion into play. So people will just leverage on that religion to achieve their goals.
Okay, let me put the same question to Mr. Josiah. Do you think religion has caused so much wars, most wars we experience, and why?
Okay, yeah, just like Ibrahim here rightly said, right? Religion has really caused a whole lot of conflict, yeah, in the world. So, talking from a political angle, right? Talking from a political angle, so you'll find there's this particular sect that believe that they have the authority all over the world. So I don't want to mention names. So they believe that their head, the overall head, should be the one in charge of everything, that every dictate out of his mouth should be kept, right? So that's one if they believe. And if you're speaking from that angle, you know that this is like a quest for power, right? Political power. But if we draw the lines together, we'll come to realize, just like Ibrahim Biden said, both Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they have one particular thing in common, and that's the belief that there's a creator, right? The creator of like one particular being. And if we leave all sentiment aside, it's just different, just a difference of belief ideology. You know, for example, I might come to you and say, okay, this is A, and to you, like you will look at it, but you define it from a different perspective, right? You understand? Me and he will differ. No, we are talking about the same thing, right? But everybody has his or her own opinion of that particular thing. So that's where the diversification in belief come in. Okay, there was a statement he made earlier. He said Judaism became popular during that was brought by Moses. I would like to make a correction on that. Okay, you know, Judaism has been just like the name Abrahamic religion, right? It became popular with Abraham, right? So from Adam, I would say that Adam, okay, that there wasn't any record of religion in time of Adam, and what have you. But I think it began during the time of Abraham, Noah upward, right? Okay. So Judaism is really, like I said, it started from Abraham, That's when the children of Israel were in Egypt. When Moses was sent to get them, that's when Moses asked a question. He said, if they should ask me who sent me to them, what should I do? He said, you should tell them that he is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. That's to show you that Judaism, just like we call it in our modern world, right, has been in existence during the time of Abraham. So drawing the lines together, there's something that a reference that was made. You know, in book of Leviticus chapter 11, yeah, that's talking about some laws in Judaism, right? Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy 14 talks about dietary laws, the kind of food that a Jew is supposed to consume and the ones he's not supposed to consume, right? So they have what we call clean and unclean animals. That's when it comes to animals that are fit for consumption, right? So if you notice during the time of Noah, that's for a person that reads the Bible very well, the time of Noah, when God was asking Noah to take the animals into the ark, he said he should take 7 pairs of the clean animals, right? And 2 pair of the unclean one. And meanwhile, the laws, if we are to read the Bible from Bible time, the information about the clean animal was recorded during the time of Moses. Yeah. So if there's a record about clean and unclean during the time of Noah, so what does that mean? That means that Judaism has been here for a very long time. So, and during those times, they had wars with different nations, the Persians, the Philistines, and all that. And that was one thing is like the difference in belief, right? Difference in belief. So I believe that what is bringing about all this conflict is the difference in like belief, the ideology about something. But if we all put head together, like you have your belief, I have mine. Let me keep my belief. Let me keep my belief. Mine doesn't have to. One thing about human beings, whatever thing you're doing that you cherish so much, you take it as the best. Whatever thing another person is doing
It's less of yours.
like is so less for you. Like so, but I believe that if every religion, regardless of it, should have this ideology that okay, we are all aiming at one particular goal, right? Some believe that there is paradise, some believe that there's life after death, some don't. So I believe if we should lay all sentiment aside, okay, this is what you believe in, keep it to yourself. Even if you want to share, don't share it in a violent way, right? You can make it just like we're having conversation now on a friendly note. You can choose. So after this conversation, I can choose to become a Muslim. He can choose to become a Jew. He can also choose to become either of the two without us trying to use violent method or authoritative means to make you join it. So what I believe is causing all this conflict is when people believe that what they are doing is the best and they want to use authority to assert it to make sure that everybody's conjoining to their own system of belief, their own ideology. So I believe that's what brings about all this conflict. So the conflict in religion emanated from everybody wanting to have the authority. I want to be on the commanding seat. You understand? I mentioned earlier that there's a particular set of people that believe that their own head, their own hero, should be the one in charge of every beginning, every command he gives should be obeyed. So as in that's where the whole conflict in religion started with that from my own point of view.
And I love what you said about enforcing or trying to impose your own religion or faith on their, people around or members of the other group. And that is you have raised a point. And this brings me to you. What are the misconceptions in Islam? Because Islam today is viewed by many people around the world as a violent religion. So what are the misconceptions? Violence is one of them, that Islam is a violent religion. Most terrorist organizations around the world, Boko Haram, ISIL, ISWAP, Hezbollah, and all other, they are all Islam-based. So give us an insight, or let us have your own view of that.
All right. I would like to start by saying Islam is a 1400 years old religion, not just this century, that's the 21st century. Islam has been in existence for 1,400 years. So we need to, if you want to be just to the religion, we have to look at it from the historical point of view, from the day one of the religion to death. And also, I encourage people not to learn religion from the follower of the religion, but to learn it from the teaching of that religion, right? Because that follower might be an illiterate, or he might be deliberately violating the teaching of his own creeds. So in that case, he is misrepresenting the religion. So for you to be just to that religion, judge the religion based on what is written in its secret book. And that draws me a little to look at Islam and other religion. And I read a lot about history and also about the religion. Going by statistics, if you take Quran, Old Testament and New Testament, and take the violent chapters, all of them have violent chapters, and take the violent chapters from these three books, statistically, Old Testament has the highest number of violent chapters. By percentage, it carries 5.8% of Old Testament. The verses in Old Testament is violent. Followed by what? The New Testament. New Testament has 2.8% of its verses as violent. Quran has the least with 2.3% of its verses being violent. So looking at the scriptures, then you begin to think. And one thing that make us stand out as human beings is the ability to decipher between right and wrong, not just follow what people believe, but to look at it from a critical lens of view. The data are there everywhere. You can check everybody that is watching us. And second, look at it from a historical point of view. Yes, ISIS, Boko Haram, Taliban, they have all Islamic base. True, that's true. And my belief is that the whole of these terrorist organizations, they are estimatedly 2 billion Muslims around the world. They form 0.01% of Muslim population. The whole terrorist organization. And let's take responsibility. Let's not pretend they are not part of us. All the killing they are responsible for, I take it. Let's give it to Islam and compare it with, for example, Christianity, with the Inquisition, the Crusade, the slavery and colonization of Africans. Statistically, Christianity caused 10 times the death of all these terrorist organizations that are that, as you rightly said, they have a Muslim base.
The killings imposed or perpetrated by the West in the past against Africa, the perpetrators did not do it in the name of Jesus Christ. But in Islam, Boko Haram, members of other terrorist organizations, when they kill, there is this phrase they use.
Allah.
Yeah. So there are two different things.
Let me explain that thing to you.
All right.
As I said earlier, Allah is an Arabic word. Okay. Believe me, in Christian, they are Arab Christians. Arab Christians shouted Allahu Akbar because this is their language, and Allah means God in their own language.
Okay.
You get? So I'm not saying the terrorists are not Muslims. They are Muslims. But the idea is because they are shouting it, everybody has his own belief now. Right? No. He has a belief, but what he's doing is wrong. And by the way, religion is the culture of the people. You were born into it. Most of the people, they are just born into the religion. They don't even know what they are following. More often than not, most of the people that are following religion today doesn't even know what the religion stands for. So in that case, yes, they are shouting Allahu Akbar. But recently, United States of America is the country with the highest number of Christians in the world. A congressman said that, quote, they are the ones sponsoring ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Boko Haram. So sponsoring terrorism is also terrorism, right? If you're going to look at it from a critical point of view, it is not the religion. The thing I want to say is not the religion, it's not Christianity or Islam. It's the war on power. Some people want to dominate. Some people want to, as he said, want to exalt authority. So in that case, they will use the religion. They will write on the religion to find their justification. As I said, every ideology needs a theology to make it valid. So in that case, they must have something to justify what they want to achieve. And again, you talk about misconception. I didn't answer that question.
Yes, I said beyond violence.
Yes.
What are other misconceptions?
Yes, the misconceptions that the common misconception that most non-Muslim believe about Islam, first and foremost is, let me use the list, that Muslims oppress women and they don't allow them their right in their society. But little they know that the first university in the history of the world was built by a Muslim woman. Not just that. Indonesia is the country with the highest number of Muslims in the world. Indonesia already had 2 prime ministers, women prime ministers. But United States of America never voted for a woman. And they are the country with the highest number of Christians, for example. Israel has no woman prime minister, and they are the country that represents the Jew. Right? In Nigeria, northern part of Nigeria produced the first female deputy governor before southern part of Nigeria. And the 2 women that come close to becoming governors in Nigeria, Aisha, Jumai Al-Hassan of Taraba State, and Aisha Binani of Adamawa State, both from northern part of Nigeria. So for us, the independence that people are talking about of women going naked, for us is not independent. It's literally disrespecting womanhood to us. Let them build their mind rather than showing their bodies outside. That's our belief. So that's one of the misconceptions, that Islam oppress women. Yeah, and again, there's that belief that Islam is inherently violent. I'm sorry, we don't want to kill anyone. Because one of the verses that motivates me always is the verse in the Holy Quran that said, if you serve a single soul, it is as though you serve the whole of humankind and its entirety. And if you kill a single soul, it is as though you kill the whole of humankind and its entirety. So what people refuse to understand, I will not blame them, because in the age of technology and the age of media controls the narrative. And according to because the West controls the media, the bad guys to them are the Muslims. So they will showcase them the way they want you to take them. And it takes only people that have an open mind and they are willing to learn, that will know most of these things and decipher the truth from falsehood. So this is...
violence and oppression of women.
Yeah, violence and oppression of women. But I want to make something clear.
Okay.
In Islam, the Prophet's last sermon in Kaaba is one of the things that motivate a Muslim today. And the last phrase, or close to the last phrase, he said, don't oppress and don't be oppressed. It is a very strong word. Oppressors in Islam are the greatest sinners. But what is the role of someone who accepts oppression? In the perspective of Islam, accepting oppression is just as more as worse as doing it. So I will not allow anybody to come and write over me. So definitely in the Quran, there are militaristic verses that are referring to fighting injustice, fight against oppression, and so on and so forth. So anytime you want to deal with any Muslim out there, know that he is being motivated by that. He doesn't believe that if you slap him on this cheek, he'll give you another one. No, he'll put a full stop to you right there and then. So I think that's what people find it to be, maybe violent, because every oppressor wants you to accept his oppression and lie and keep taking his own oppression and pretend you are cool with it. So once you start resisting, you become threat. And that's the primary reason why Islam are being tagged as the bad boys in the world. Because these people doesn't believe in any God. Why are they targeting only one religion? The other day, I gave you an example that it is all about economics, right? The laws of the Sharia forbids taking of alcohol. And there is $1 trillion alcohol industry out there that they are controlling. If everybody is going to abide by the rule of the Sharia, nobody will be taking. Even if you take alcohol, you take it like closed door, behind closed door. So the market will fall. Interest-free banking system. If you invest in any Islamic banking in the world, it is interest-free. And IMF, World Bank, this is what they use to basically enslave Africans after colonialization. The interest that's multiplied that we won't be able to pay. Third, pornographic industry. Yes, we watch pornography, but pornographic industry, for example, you will hardly see a Muslim acting in pornography. Why? Because there is check and balance in the religion. You can't be there while you are a Muslim. And people think that maybe Muslims just are not watching pornography for the sake that they want to show to the world that they are righteous. No. They are wearing hijab because they want to show to the world they are righteous. No. It is not like that. This is our laws. And laws must be enforceable. They must be evenly applicable. So in that case, if wearing hijab is a law, the same way in Nigeria, taking marijuana is a crime. You take alcohol, no problem. But once you take marijuana, it's a crime. So that's the law. You must abide by it. So going naked is not, we don't support going naked in Islam. So once you go naked, you're going against the teaching of Islam. And Islam is a religion that provides detailed explanation about everything, including how I wear my shoe, how I take bath, and every other thing. So in that case, if you are a Muslim, you're answering the need, you need to appear as such.
Well, thank you very much. Mr. Josiah,
All right.
Ibrahim said that Judaism, should I say the Old Testament, constitutes the lion's share or has a lion's share of violent scenes or violent picture, followed by Christianity and then Islam. So what is your reaction to that, and what are the common misconceptions about your religion, Judaism?
Okay, so my reaction to the violent chapters he talked about, right? Okay, there's one particular conflict that's ongoing currently in the world that is between Israel and
Hamas.
and Palestine, right? Palestine, right? Okay, the Palestinians are modern day. They are modern day. In the Bible, and they call them Philistines, right? They call them Philistines. So in this modern day, they are called Palestinians. So I think what's caused the thing is, they're saying that the Palestinians believe that Israel belongs to the land of Israel, Jerusalem, belong to them, right? So going down from history, right? God made a promise to Abraham that he was going to bless him with children, right? That is the number of his blessings that even that it will be going to be more than the dust of the earth, right? But then he told him that not far fetched from that those his children are going to go into slavery for a number of 400 years, right? So if we remember, the children of Israel, they were in Egypt when Moses was born. So, the promises of God are one of the signs that God gave to Abraham, that was his children were going to be in a land that is not theirs, that the lands that they're going to oppress them for a period of 400 years. And reading now from Bible times, that children of Israel were in Egypt for 430 years. So it's just like, okay, the sons of Abraham, right, Isaac and Jacob, they left their homeland, right? They left their homeland for sake of because of food, because of famine, right? Then they came there. They started because their brother there, Joseph, was already there, right? So they used because of their brother, they relaxed because food and everything was available. And for the promise of for the word of God to fulfill, they were there for a period of 400 years. Somebody like, just like if you're away from your house for a long period of time, people, maybe you left your house, thorns, bushes, everything has grown around it. Then for a very period of time, there's someone courageous to take a courageous person to clear all the sand and then claim the building. Regardless, because nobody knows if you are alive or not, right? Because nobody knows if you are alive or not. So how about if you later come back? What will you not do? Because you come back and you find that there's another occupant in your building that you already have, right? So definitely you're going to fight for it, right? Because this is what belongs to you, right? You're going to make everything possible to ensure that person leaves your residence, right? So I believe that's so during that, I don't want to go too far, but I just want you to use that knowledge to understand what is actually going on. Then talking about the misconception, right? So the misconception is basically it's more aligned between Judaism and other religion. It's mostly closely linked to Christianity. Okay, the Christians believe that Jesus is God, right? You said we are going to talk about Trinity and all that. The Christians believe that Jesus is God, right? So, and for them to justify it, that's when the Trinity comes in. But when we're in Judaism, we believe that Jesus, Moses, Elijah, Isaiah, and every other prominent prophets and kings. They were all, in Islam, right? Like I said, every prominent male is called a prophet, regarding whether if you're a king or not. As long as you did something right, you're regarded as a prophet, right? So if I'm not wrong, so
It depends on
it
what
depends on the
it-
person, right?
Yeah,
Okay, it
it
depends on
does.
the person's deed, right? So in Judaism, right? So we believe that any person that does the will of God, right? That stands where God stands and does what is right, that he is a prophet, right? I can be a prophet, you can be a prophet. So you don't need special anointing in order to ascertain that you're a prophet, because you can be a prophet. Regarding, it just has to do with the situation around the whole, like the condition of happen to find it around the whole situation, right? So the Christians believe that Jesus is God, meanwhile the Jews don't. Even though in Judaism, right, there are different sects, thoughts, there are different school of thoughts, right? Some call themselves Messianic Jews, right? They believe in the coming of the Messiah. That's in Christianity, it's said the coming back of Jesus, the second coming of Jesus, right? So there are Jews who believe in that. So they are called Messianic Jews, or in other words, Christian Jews. Meanwhile, there are Jews that don't believe in that. And no, I belong to the sect that believes that any day you die, so in judgment day. So I belong to that sect. Any day you die, that's your own judgment day. So nobody knows whether you are going to paradise or hellfire. Nobody knows, between you and your maker. So and in my own sect, we believe in like keeping the commandments of God and all that. There's this misconception I had. But still talking about the misconception, right? The Christians are like making a reference to the Pharisees and Sadducees, right? During the time of Jesus. Those are different teachers from different school of thought, right? The Pharisees have their own thought pattern. The Sadducees have their own thought pattern about something that should be done. Okay, God gave the Ten Commandments, like they call it, but in some total, right? The law in total is 613. In Judaism, you call it 613 codified law. The codified law, 613 codified law, as in codified into 10. So let's do this small equation. 6 plus 1 is 7 plus 3.
10.
That's 10, right? 10 commandments. But if you break it down, it becomes 613. But codifying it, that's 10. So what you hear about the 10 commandments, it's not just 10 commandments, it's 613, right? So some of those beliefs, okay, God gave the instruction that this is what should be done, right? Then the Sadducees and Pharisees now came up with how it should be done. You know, see the clash now.
Yes. Mm.
This is what you need to do, right? Is the instruction. And then they are saying this is how you should do it. That's adding to it. Okay, for example, now, one of the laws that governs Judaism, that the observing of the Shabbat day, right? Keeping of the Shabbat day. They said one of the laws is that no Sabbath work should be done. So that is stressful work that know that something that you know that when you do it, like it's a stress, you understand? Your whole body, so you feel that something came out of you due to that kind of work, server work, very hard labor, right? So that was one of the laws prohibited on Shabbat day in Judaism. So what did the Sadducees and the Pharisees and what did they do? Okay, they said that if you wear maybe probably my footwear, let's say pretend it's slightly heavy, they'll say that I'm breaking the Shabbat. I'm wearing something heavy. I'm stressing my leg. Or if I walk across a farm, right? It's believed that, it's called what they call threshing. When you harvest rice, you beat it and all that, right? It's called threshing. I don't know what they call it this particular time. So they believe that if you walk across a farm and you happen to step on any grain, that is called threshing, that you have threshed a grain, that you have broken the Shabbat law. That meanwhile, the original instruction is you should not do any hard labor. So does that mean that if I'm bad, I can't work again? You understand? So that's one of the misconceptions. That's why the Christians most will make reference to when Jesus and his disciples were walking around. Then his disciples, they came across a field of wheat, right? And the disciples were taking some of the grain and were blowing it. And the Pharisees that came said that his disciples are breaking the Shabbat day. Then Jesus made a reference to them. And I asked them, what did King David do when he was hungry? So they told him that the bread available was bread meant only for the priests that serve in the altar in the high tabernacle, right? But that bread was given to David to eat. Remember, David is not a priest, right?
Yeah.
But that bread was given to him. That was the reference that Jesus made to them. That's most times the Christians do believe that okay, all those things are like just came to about that all those things are like abrogated. There's this popular saying that this Old Testament passed away, Mosaic law and all that. And that's one particular thing they used to justify all those things. During the New Testament era, I think that should be I don't know one of the disciples of Jesus back then or followers of Jesus. I don't know if it's Paul or Peter. Like he was in a vision when he was praying, and then a sheet or rather a blanket filled with different kind of animals, unclean animals as Jews. Now I talk about clean and unclean animals in Judaism, right? So different kind of unclean animals were in it.
Like pig.
Yeah, pig and all that. So he was asked to rise and eat. He said that ever since he was born, that he has not taken anything unclean or something like that. And how come? The message came to him the second one, and I believe the third time, but yet, when after the vision, there are some sects of Judaism, right? I don't believe in associating with people that are not Jewish, right? Like I said, some sect, every religion, even in Muslim, even in Islam, I know that, yeah, Islam, there are different sects, different thought pattern. Because I believe when I was in the north, I believe there were about three of them that I knew, three different sects. There are the ones that go on black, the females here put on black hijab. Then there are the ones that leave their beards, their males like leaving their beards, and then there are the ones that whenever they like hitting their chest, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I used to observe that. So that made me to understand there are different sects, just like in Christianity, right? Yeah, the Pentecostals, they're you understand, so different cases. So those that sect of Judah believe that okay, they are not supposed to associate with people that are not Jewish. So why did that vision come to that particular list? That was to show him that God is against discrimination. He wants oneness. So what you need to, if the person, okay, this person wants to know something about you, if you are discriminating, there's no how the person will get to understand what he needs to understand from you. Let's say, for instance, they were in a school setting, right? I have a knowledge that you want to know. Let's say, for instance, I discriminate and I want to associate because you don't know that thing I know. And you are willing to learn. But because of the discrimination, you wouldn't have the courage to approach me to learn, right? So except if the teacher forcefully make it a point of that everybody's going to do teamwork. That's when I can even decide to withhold my knowledge even in the midst of that teamwork. But that essence of that teamwork is just for you to share your knowledge, right? Okay. So just what I'm trying to say in essence, right? So there's a sect of Judaism that believes that they are not supposed to associate with other people. But meanwhile, Judaism is when that's based on human concept, right? But the original this thing so includes like everybody, everyone is inclusive. So there's this part of the Torah that said this law is not meant for only you, but just for it's not just for you that are here with it's like not only for you that are here this day, but also with people who are yet to come, both generation unborn, and anybody that would want to join you. That the law is not just for you. So that's what is it trying to just to show you that there's room for everyone or to accommodate everyone. But when all these misconceptions start coming is when people start bringing out diverse ideas of what should be done of the original law, right? An instruction was given, and someone is telling you how you should keep the instruction. But that's going to conflict with the original this thing because if you were to go strictly by the original laws, right? Everything's going to be easy. It's going to be clear, right? But when someone is telling you this is how you should do what you are asked to do, that's where the whole error comes in. So, like I said, so aside Jesus and this and being God and all that, that was a misconception between Jews and Christians. I also talked about believe in paradise. Some Jews believe that there is paradise, that there's life after death, right? Some Jews don't. Like I said, I belong to the sect that believe that once you die, that's your own judgment day. That anything that happens, whether you go to heaven or hell, as they say, is between you and your maker. So what we do as a Jew is we observe a 40 days prayer that is called keyboard hamet. Keyboard hamet. So that keyboard hamet starts from when the person dies. It's keyboard hamet is simply a Jewish term that means preparation of the dead, right? So Jews believe that once a soul leaves, right, he roams for 40 days, right? He roams for 40 days. His soul runs, his or her soul runs for 40 days before the soul reach the final destination, before God's judgment throne, right? So what is the essence of the prayer is to guard the person's soul directly to the throne of God, because it is believed that there are some hijackers of soul that might just take the person off track in spiritual realm, right? So that's where in Christianity, I know that something like that it's not peculiar to you, right? So that's another something that can come as misconception between Judaism and Christianity. And also I don't know for Islam. So it might be. So basically the whole misconception thing has to do with belief, like I said initially. There's something I believe in that you don't believe in, but meanwhile we are all aiming at the same goal. I made reference to dietary laws at the onset, right? So in Judaism, right, Jews don't eat pork. We don't eat pork. There are also, and when it comes to fish, when it comes to like aquatic animals, right, the kind of fish we consume is the ones that have fins and scales. It must has the two for it to be consumable. If it has just one, it is not fit for consumption. One. Why? Because that's the law concerning the dietary laws concerning that the Jewish
Muslim too don't
Jewish
pork.
dietary law. So and scientifically, right? Scientifically coming from that angle, you know, fishes that don't have scale, like an experiment was taken, right? A fish that has scale and fin was brought, right? Then a fish that has just fin that doesn't have scale was brought, right? I believe there's no fish that has just scale that doesn't have fin. It's either it has shell, right? There are some I've forgotten the scientific term. They call those fishes that have just shells. Shell is different from scale, from scales, right?
Yeah.
So a fish that has just fin that doesn't have scale was brought. Example, I want typical example is catfish. Catfish doesn't have scales, right? So a catfish was brought. Then a fish that have a fin and scale was brought. Then some microorganisms, dangerous microorganisms, right, were deposited in the same water they were in. So the fish that doesn't have scale, it was easy for the microorganisms, those dangerous things, to penetrate in through the body of the fish that doesn't have scale. Meanwhile, for the fish that had scale, it was very, very difficult because the scales was covering it from penetrating. Bringing aligning both the religious aspects and the scientific aspect of it, this is for the sake of our own health. Yeah, it is not like hidden. It is a common knowledge that when it comes to pork, that whether the pork happens to be live or dead, that once you take lime and squeeze the liquid on the pork, you see maggots and all that coming out of it. And then how much more you consuming something that already, you understand? If you are served maggots to eat as a meal, would you? No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. But okay, how much more you're consuming something that already contains the maggots? So health-wise, you are you're harming yourself, right? So that's one misconception between Judaism and Christian when it comes to dietary laws and the belief in God, and then when it comes to discrimination.
Yes, I know that there are so many misconceptions we cannot exhaust them today. But just to ask you the last question.
Okay.
If every religion is different and what is causing conflict is this difference, disagreement regarding the beliefs and the principles, the doctrines, the dogmas, why do we focus more on what divides us instead of focusing on what brings us together? Is it that what divides us is stronger? That belief that this person worships three gods instead of one, therefore I have nothing to do with him. If I associate with him, I am offending God. But let me ask you this question. Is there any place in your scripture or in your religion that says that if you associate with a non-member of your religion, like you're offending God?
Okay. There is no other. Okay, apparently there are several citations, right? There's one that said those idol worshiping nations, right? So they said we should not make marriages with them, those that, because they will eventually lure us away from the ways of God, right? From the ways of God. So one prominent example in the scripture is the story of King Solomon, the son of King David, right? So, when he began to marry different wives, right? And those different wives, notes, they were from different religious backgrounds, right? So in his old age, they made him to start coming worshiping their God. The Jewish God, right? The God of the Jews is a very jealous God. Like he said it in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, when enumeration was being made about, he said, I the Lord, for you shall not take for yourself you should not make for yourself any graven image, or, and he also said, thou shalt not have any other gods before me, for I the Lord your God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, upon the third and fourth generation of those that hate me, but showing mercy to thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So they believe that, okay, God said the Jewish God, right, the God of Jews, right, he's a jealous God. He doesn't want to share his glory, and listen to with any other being. Just like you now, maybe something that is due to you and it's being given to another person, how would you feel? You understand? So that's based just from a human angle. So how much more the supreme being himself? So when he said we should not make marriages with idol worshiping nations and all that, because there were, okay, even in that same Bible, there were some people, from other nations, like story of Ruth. Ruth was a Moabite. She was a Moabite. She wasn't a Jew, but yet she converted and became a Jew. She married Boaz. From Boaz came Obed and Dave and Jesse, David, and along the line. That was how King David. And then there's also another prominent figure. What's her name? She was regarded as a harlot back then. What's that her name again? I forgotten her name. She wasn't a Jew, but yet she converted and become a Jew. So Judaism, like we have open arms to welcome anybody that want to accept our faith, right? But that does not mean that we will come against you, but because you are not one of us, we wouldn't associate with you. Remember, the ground for the association is different, right? If I'm going to marry, for example, me as a very strong Jewish person, right? If I'm to marry a non-Jew, like the person I'm supposed to marry, if she doesn't come in terms with my own point of view when it comes to religion, yeah, if she's not going to do what I'm doing, right? I would like to say that the marriage is definitely not going to work, because there are things that Jews believe in, right? That other person doesn't believe in. And when two people from different from different backgrounds are in the same house, definitely there are going to be conflicts. Definitely there are going to be conflict, except if maybe I decide to become one of her, right? Or she becomes one of me. It's not by force, right? So that's why there's room for this thing. So if the person accepts that he or she wants to become one of us, yeah, we have open arm to welcome the person. Person becomes one of us, and those what I do. So I believe that we have the same belief. We're going through the same way. And that does not mean that we won't have friends of other religions. Okay, just like in Solomon, he married wives from different countries, from different continents. Yeah, just different religions. All of them have work in his house, right? I have Muslim friends. I have friends that are into that traditional religion and all that. All of us, even if we should start talking about all this discrimination, all these things boil down to us having like one love, right? There's this thing of one love. We are all humans. If we all agree that we are all humans, we have a purpose, have a goal. There's something that we are here on earth for. If we come in terms with that, I believe there won't be need for anybody to have chance to start discriminating about religion and all that. Because if it's that way, that means if you come to the market, right? And I ask you, are you a Christian? And you said, yeah. And I said, I'm a Jew. So would that mean that, and if you happen to have the commodity I want to buy, I'm simply because you're a Christian and I wouldn't want to buy it from you, that means I'll be hurting myself, because that stuff I was supposed to, you only have it. And it's something that is a necessity for me. So on religious ground, there's no way I'll be hurting myself, you understand? I'm denying you market profit, right? And I'm denying myself the health or emotional satisfaction of that particular thing. So I believe that if we all have this mindset that there's a purpose why we're here, everybody will have a goal. Let's just focus on that goal and lay all sentiment aside. I believe all this misconception will just be laid to rest. So
That's wonderful. Brahim, if the case here is to come together and focus on things that binds us together, why do people focus down on the things that uh, makes us different? Why? Explain.
I think I explained that issue earlier when I talk about politics. I say when there is politics in play, the main goal is to divide the people. Because once you divide, you get your own path that will support you. The best way to conquer people is to divide them. So for me, the main source of the division, the biggest question is who is benefiting from our division? So we are divided definitely by some people. In the Quran, we recognize the Christian and the Jews of the people of the book. Those who has a book. I said earlier on that Islam is the only non-Christian belief that makes it a pillars of faith to believe in Jesus Christ and also to believe in the Bible. It is the only non-Christian belief that makes it a pillars of faith. So we believe in the Bible, we believe in Jesus Christ, we believe in the Jew, we call them people of the book. We are allowed to marry from them, we are allowed to eat their food, except for the food that are unlawful. For example, Jew and Muslims believe that pig is a dirty animal. We don't consume pig. Either we don't consume pork, no matter the situation, except by mistake. We don't, as Muslims, we don't consume dog, no matter the condition. We don't consume donkey, for example. These animals, there are lots of animals that Muslim doesn't consume. And that's where you see halal and non-halal food.
Yeah, in Judaism, it's called kosher.
Yeah, kosher.
Kosher.
Yeah, so we have the halal food and the foods that are not halal. I told you the other day that because I saw a woman selling pork in a certain place, I'm not comfortable to go and buy food there completely. Although I know it is not the pork. If today I'll see you cooking pork, I will never eat from you because I'll have that ingrained aversion for anything that will come from you. You get? So that's the laws in Islam. And the unity, I believe that unity is not uniformity. We're seeing it from a wrong angle that we disagree. Since we disagree, then we'll start fighting. No, I disagree. You have your own belief. I have my own belief. The idea of being a rainbow country is that we have our belief system different from your own, but we should respect each other and coexist with our differences. So I believe that's the best way for us to live with our difference. That's the best way.
All right. Thank you very much, Ibrahim Wase. It's nice hearing your contribution. Mr. Josiah,
So it was a pleasure, sir.
you gave a wonderful analysis of your own. No, we cannot exhaust everything today. We'll continue the conversation later. But one thing we should, and your viewers should take from this conversation, is that you must learn to agree to disagree. Once we adopt this attitude and disposition, then we shall always live in peace amongst ourselves. I'm Toshiko Raphael. This is Roundtable. Join us next time. If you like this video, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share this video, and then subscribe to Diaspora Digital Media for more exciting topics. See you next time.